Political leadership often functions as a carefully maintained facade. Leaders project an image of righteous greatness to mask a deep, underlying moral decay. King Jeroboam of ancient Israel is the historical archetype of this failure. He was chosen by God and given a divine mandate to lead the northern kingdom, yet he immediately abandoned those principles to secure his own political convenience. That active rebellion triggered a severe judgment against his entire household. The decree was absolute. Because Jeroboam had turned his back on his mandate, his family line would be completely eradicated from history. Amidst this decree, we find the story of Jeroboam's young son, Abijah, who fell ill and died prematurely. While it appears tragic, his death was actually a hidden act of mercy. Abijah was the only member of the royal family who possessed any genuine moral goodness. Dying early was the only way to spare him from his family's inevitable corruption. When leadership rots from the top down, God's mercy can take counterintuitive forms, even using tragedy to rescue the innocent from a fully compromised system. The judgment on Jeroboam's house quickly expanded into national instability. The Bible describes Israel swaying like reeds in the water, a metaphor for a nation crippled by constant assassinations and political chaos. Prophets warned the northern kingdom of a specific fate. They would eventually be conquered, uprooted from their homes, and scattered beyond the great river. That great river is the Euphrates. The prophecy was pointing directly toward the region of Assyria as the specific destination for their future exile. Historical records validate this exact biblical timeline. These stone reliefs depict the Assyrian military machine, the force that eventually executed the conquest of Israel. Active rebellion against foundational moral principles creates national vulnerabilities that hostile foreign powers will always exploit. In the southern kingdom of Judah, King Rehoboam was failing for a different reason. His failure was one of passive spiritual neglect. Raised away from his father Solomon's influence, he simply allowed the nation's spiritual core to dissolve. Cultural decay quickly filled the leadership void. The people adopted Canaanite fertility cults, erecting Asherah poles under green trees, and introducing male shrine prostitutes into their places of worship. This moral rot invited immediate geopolitical disaster. In the 5th year of Rehoboam's reign, a massive Egyptian army launched an invasion against Jerusalem. The Egyptian forces were specifically hunting for the massive wealth Solomon had hoarded during the previous generation. The invasion resulted in a total humiliation for Judah. The Egyptians stripped the royal palace of its treasures, including Solomon's legendary shields of solid gold. Rehoboam's response was a masterclass in deception. Instead of repenting for the nation's decline, he commissioned cheap replacement shields to hide the loss from the public. He used bronze to replace the gold, creating a convincing but inferior illusion of strength. Rehoboam's bronze shields stand as a physical record of spiritual hypocrisy, a leadership that maintains the outward appearance of divine favor while being bankrupt on the inside. This ancient history connects directly to our world today. Jeroboam and Rehoboam are the archetypes of many modern political figures. We frequently see leaders who leverage a religious identity to gain the trust and votes of the public, only to abandon those principles the moment they take office. This modern compromise often manifests as leaders publicly endorsing policies that contradict Scripture, or abandoning traditional moral stances on sexuality for the sake of political expediency. This places a burden of discernment on the citizen. We must scrutinize the actual moral governance and policy decisions of a leader, looking past the religious labels they claim for themselves. True faith requires an uncompromising alignment between public policy and private morality. We must refuse to accept the bronze shields of political hypocrisy when the situation demands the gold of genuine integrity.